Welcome to Prompt Brand Innovation, a podcast about brand and innovation strategy in the age of ChatGPT. My guest today is Kevin Tran, the founder of AI Piping, a company that deploys intelligent, autonomous employees to boost productivity and more. Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Tell us more about who you are and what you do with your company, AI Piping.
All right, cool. Thanks for having me, Joel. Very happy to be here and super excited about this podcast. So a little bit more about me. So I'm a French doctor of pharmacy, born and raised in France. I moved to Singapore 8 years ago, and my entire career was in strategy consulting. So first at Samuel Cushion Partners, then at BCG. And I very recently launched a company called AI Piping. What we do at AI Piping is we deploy autonomous AI employees for companies. Those employees have very specific job description. They do sales, they do marketing, they do customer support, and they do it 10,000 times faster than normal employees.
What led you to set up AI Piping? Why do you want to create autonomous employees for companies?
So it actually came from different angles. I had another company because I went the entrepreneur route like 1 year ago. I had an SME beforehand based out of Bangkok, and it was such an excruciatingly painful process to hire people and to have them perform that I realized, whoa, this is a huge problem to solve. Like people who are not only reliable and performant, but also bring like best practices and that you don't need to micromanage. And then at the same time, coincidentally, the whole AI revolution started, in November with GPT 3.5, and now it's like progressing very fast. So that was a huge jump up in terms of capabilities. And now if you mix both of them, you realize that AI can actually perform maybe 80, 90% of what a normal employee can do. So we're not talking about replacing people, we're talking about augmenting them, making sure that the employees, the human employees, can focus on the super high value add actions and have AI handle the rest. And the great thing with AI is it can do it like so much faster, also cheaper, but also so much faster than a normal employee.
What would be the typical customers for these autonomous employees? What type of people actually use them, and what do they use it for?
So in terms of customers, for us, because we're still very early, so we're not really saying no to any customers, but the majority of them will be B2B businesses that are SMEs. We have a few enterprises clients with whom we are building as well, but the spectrum is very large. I'd say everyone that needs employees on the specific job functions that we cover could like fit our customer target. So what do our employees do? Sales, marketing, customer support. In sales, we have an SDR. So imagine an employee that is able to send 10,000 emails per month or more that are hyper-personalized to the level of looking at the LinkedIn profile of the recipient, looking at the latest post, making a very clever comment about it, adapting the key value proposition of the company to that recipient, making a random comment about any event that happened, and then giving out like a link to book an email. That would be the type of hyper-personalized email that our AI employee is able to send. Normally, a normal employee would spend 15, 20 minutes to write them, to spend time to do all of this process. But for us, we can fully automate it. So I was saying 10,000 per month, but it could be like 100,000. There's like actually no limit on that. Other workflows that we cover, let's say marketing. So instead of having a marketing agency developing something over months, you can have an AI that is able to derive all the ideal customer profile you have, derive all the insights on each of those ideal customer profile, and then write all your ads copy on Google, Instagram, Facebook, all your product copy, all your press releases, all your articles. All of that is covered by AI and done at scale and very, very fast and at a much cheaper cost. And customer support is one of the most evident one. Not only does it reply 24/7 in 1 second delay, but also it brings a level of care and empathy that employees or externalized companies are not able to bring because they have metrics, right? If you have a customer support agent, they have metrics on number of tickets over number of hours, whatever. And for the AI employees, they really take time to care deeply about the customer and really answer in a deep and meaningful way.
And This is really, really interesting. I think a lot of customers and a lot of companies actually are thinking about that, but they are worried that the AI may not get the tone of voice or basically be on brand, be on message. How do you ensure that your AI, your intelligent agents, don't just blurt out generic messages, but can really represent the company they are working for?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I actually add one more. How can we make sure that the AI is following like best practices and following that what is best in class? So answering your first question, what we do when we onboard our customers is we'll get all the data in terms of what emails they're already sending, what product copy they already have, any documentation, any text they have to understand their tone of voice, because it's very difficult for someone to explain in adjectives that is the tone of voice of my company. Like no one actually can do that, and it won't be exhaustive. So the best way is to fine-tune our model with all the text, your website, your emails, everything that is coming from your company, and then the AI will be able to mimic it, and on top of that, enhance. Now, back to the second question, that is, how do you make sure that this AI is actually strong and is doing the right thing, other than the tone of voice and the way of phrasing things, is that each one of those AI employees that we have, we actually train them with best-in-class companies, other best-in-class companies. So experts in marketing, experts in sales. We look at what is done in the best companies and the highest performing companies, and we bring them in. Which means if you're an SME or a smaller company, you don't have these capabilities, you don't have these best practices, you don't need to worry about training your employees, your own human employees on those best practices, because we bring all of it in a very autonomous way, meaning you don't need to manage these AI employees because they already run autonomously in the background and you can see the result by yourself afterwards.
I guess a lot of people listen to that and say, oh my God, that's it, that's the end of my job. Others will say, this is amazing because actually, yes, I do have staff and they struggle to send, their 10 emails a day. Now they could send 10,000 a day, so they can see the potential for augmenting their capabilities. Could you give us your views about how it will change, the world of marketing, of sales, for whether you are a startup or whether you are a large organization, when we look at AI and its possibilities?
So, okay, again, I think it's a question that comes into two angles. You have from an individual perspective, what can AI do for you individually? And then you have in an organization, what can AI do in the organization? I believe right now, if we start with individual, you can already really go way faster for a lot of content creation, a lot of analysis. Those are the two things where AI is really strong at: content creation and analysis, getting insights. And this, you can already enhance your own productivity. I don't believe people need to fear that, oh, wow, AI is going to take my job and everything, even if we mention like AI employees. Because if we take back this perspective of the AI employee that is an SDR finding you leads, is it something like sending all those emails? Do you believe that this is something that is your highest value add as an employee? I don't think so. Your highest value add is to do the actual meeting after those emails are exchanged and sell the product in a personalized way in a meeting and so on. So this is where actually the main job is. So AI will take care of those 80-90% lower value tasks, and then you can focus on what is higher value. So it's really augmentation instead of replacement. Now going on to the enterprise level as a company. So I strongly believe that we are in an age where it's about leveling the playing field. So all those SMEs who don't have the budget, who don't have the capabilities to have a huge marketing team or huge sales teams, now they can get it. Compared to all the big enterprises who used to have an army of people, the skill difference and the delta between those two organizations is becoming lower and lower because of AI. So I believe it's a very, very strong moment for entrepreneurs, for smaller businesses to be able to catch up on those best practices, especially on using automation, because AI should really not be used in a silo. And what I see when I talk to a lot of customers nowadays is at best, they're using AI tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, Copy AI, all of those, which are very manual, meaning you would prompt the AI, copy paste things in the AI, get the answer, copy things out. And this should not happen. It should be completely automated, integrating into your tech stack and done at scale. And this is exactly what we are doing at AFIP, like helping companies do that.
I like what you say about leveling the playing field, because indeed, one of the struggle from for small companies or startups or for entrepreneurs is that basically they can't afford the people to do a lot of things that they need to do. So in a way, it gives them an edge. I think this is really a really interesting angle, which I think people don't really focus on so much, especially in the media when they talk about AI and what we could do with it. Are there any pitfalls of using AI that we should be wary of? Because here we're talking obviously about all the great things we could do with AI, but are there things that for which AI is not very good at?
I can think about three top of mind. Maybe along the way, I can think about a few more. The three I have is one, hallucinations. So what we mean by hallucination is AI inventing things. So you can hear actually a lot of crazy stories where you have a lawyer that used AI in court in the US, and the AI actually invented an entire case, and that lawyer got fined. So those situations happen because the way AI is built and the way those large language model is built is a predictive model, meaning it looks at the few characters that are put on screen, and then you predict what other characters should come up. That's a very short answer on that. So it's not able to define what is real and what is not real. So the way to do that is to put like very strong guardrails around what you want to generate. Let's say in customer support, which is one of the most critical part where the AI can't invent things. We put guardrails as in the AI can only get the information from whatever document are sent internally. And then it makes sure that the AI will be able to like pull information from that and not invent any other solutions. So that's one of the pitfall, hallucination, that being very, very, very careful about putting guardrails. The second one, it's reliability, I'd say, the second one. And I'm trying to prioritize them in order. The second is reliability, especially once you start automating, which is one of our challenges at AI Piping, is once you start automating and you don't have a human validating all of the results, you have to make sure that 100% of everything that you send out, that you produce, is actually good enough. Because like you can ruin a relationship if something is wrong there. The reliability on text is actually very high because there's a lot of research done there and everything is getting like improvement over time. But the reliability issue on images and videos is very low. That's why, for example, for us, we can't generate the ads with the images inside, because if you use Stable Diffusion or the others, you have 1 out of 5 that would look like crazy bad, and you have no way of detecting that. So reliability is another challenge that is there. And I believe for 1 and 2, hallucination and reliability, it will be solved over time. That's the great thing. Like all those LLM models that are being trained over time. So whenever you are listening to the podcast, if it's in 6 months' time, maybe all of it is actually solved, right? So that's the good point. And I'm trying to think about the last one. Not really a pitfall, but something that comes to mind now is that if you're using those tools manually, the way you prompt the AI is actually the biggest differentiator on your results. So meaning if you don't prompt it properly, and a lot of our customers, they say, yeah, I tried AI, it's very generic, it doesn't provide good results. It's usually because you don't prompt it properly. And prompting is probably something that will be solved over time, but it's not rocket science. It's not very hard to learn how to prompt, but you need to do it properly. So the pitfall is more, you need to get a little bit of training to use AI manually. But then again, like what we do at AI Piping with those autonomous employees is you don't need to care about training yourself and all that, because everything is run autonomously.
I hear what you say about prompting, and anecdotally, I heard a lot of people being disappointed because of the prompt they enter. But it's kind of a garbage in, garbage out type of issue, which is not new, basically. Once you understand how to use the tool, then obviously you can do a lot more with it. When we look at the applications of AI, automating ad creation, messaging, emailing, are there other applications you see coming in the near to mid-term? What else could this intelligent employee do?
So the great thing about AI right now is I'd say it's not a technical problem, it's more a creative problem. It's more like thinking about what AI can do and try to deploy them. So you have overall, like AI is very strong at 2 things. One is content creation. So that's linked back to marketing, copywriting, emails, and all that. And the second one is deriving insights out of data, getting sentiment analysis and all that. So out of those main buckets. You can derive tons of things. In terms of application, what we see happening is a lot of huge corporations are deploying their own AI copilot. So to define a little bit AI copilot, what it means, it's a little chatbot that is next to your workspace, and you'll be able to answer any questions and also do anything on your document. Like the ones that are strong are the one deployed by Microsoft. So having those AI copilot within Outlook, within Word, Excel, and that will be able to do content, generate Excel formula, generate slides automatically by just prompting it. You have that in Notion, you have that in Shopify. So I believe like all big corporations, so all the tools you're currently using are deploying those AI copilots. And in terms of productivity for the employee within a company, it's actually huge. You save so much time. Like you don't need to go on any website to learn how to do an Excel formula. You can have your entire spreadsheet like developed. So it's all of that makes it so much faster to do things. So it's mainly like productivity, I'd say, within the tools.
No, it makes complete sense, and I've seen that implemented as well in pretty much all the applications I'm using from the companies you mentioned, and it's actually indeed quite helpful most of the time. So it's a nice value added. If you wanted to give like a kind of last word of advice to anyone who's contemplating using either your product or AI in general, and say, yes, I want to boost my productivity, I want to do things I couldn't do before, what is it that they could do to make sure it works well?
I'd say that the first advice and the biggest one is don't be intimidated by AI. I hear a lot of people who are scared about it, who are skeptical and all that. And the great thing about AI is, to be completely honest, before November last year, no one really focused on it except a few niche people that were like very deep in, either machine learning, AI, and all that. And right now, it's a little bit like if you want to deploy or to use the cloud, like Google Drive, you don't need to have skills in deploying a server and all that. It's not needed because Google Drive or Amazon Web Service, all those, they do it for you. And this is the same state where AI is currently. After November, everyone is at the same level. No one knows anything about it. Everyone is learning. So you're not starting with a disadvantage. So actually being good enough in AI, that takes 1-2 weeks of research, of looking at tutorials and just being slightly interested. So it doesn't require tons of studies and all that. So yeah, my main advice is don't be intimidated. Try the tools for yourself, and you'll see already the result. And because everything is moving so fast, I believe that whatever time you're investing into learning how to use those tools will be paid off like 100 or 1,000 times back.
Thank you so much, Kevin. This was really, really inspirational. And it's a great call to action to all the listeners as well, is that if you haven't yet, now is the time to try, because we all believe that AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in our lives, basically in the lives of companies as well. So you might as well just get onto the bandwagon, jump into it as soon as possible so you won't be left behind. So again, thank you so much, Kevin. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and see you for the next episode.